Hello, welcome to the video. My name's Alex, and I'm holding a tiny lapel mic because my other microphone, this big honking monster, is broken. Get out of here. You played yourself. Yeah, so the mic over there keeps muting itself randomly, and I need to get a new one. We'll still be using it for streaming, but for now, while I make videos, we're using the tiny lapel mic, and I have to hold this thing. My hand's gonna cramp up. I'm gonna get carpal tunnel, probably. So nostrils aside, what are we talking about in this video today? Well, we're talking about Zhonyas. As the title probably says, is Zhonyas a bad item? Is it a good item? We don't know. I gotta talk about it. Zhonyas is a classic item, and everyone knows what it does. It is the defensive item for mainly mage champions in the game. Anyone does AP damage and has to fight a Zed in the mid lane probably builds a Zhonyas first and suffers for it because it doesn't give a lot of AP. But that's because it gives armor. Only 45 armor. There's a lot of turmoil these days, like with a lot of conversation talking about defensive items and the over complexity of champions and things like that. But I think there's not enough talk about like what makes a defensive item and what are the differences between them. And I'm going to talk about a few defensive items in this video, and mainly they're kind of like, some are semi-defensive, some are purely defensive. I mean, all of them give you damage and stuff, so really is anything purely defensive in this game besides Zhonyas? No, everything else gives a lot of damage and other buffs and passives and stuff except Zhonyas, so you can shut it. Also, by the way, my room's a mess. Yeah, I just want to get that over with. Yes, it is a mess, and I do have to clean it. I have to be a freaking adult one day. God damn it. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about Gourd Drinker, Mola Shield Bow, Clips, and Everfrost, and obviously Zhonyas. I want to go over all 5 of them and kind of compare them to each other. Mainly to comparing all of them to Zhonyas because that's the one that I use the most because I'm a mage player. I'm a filthy goddamn mage player. You can shut it. Go read a book. So Gourd Drinker. What does Gourd Drinker do? It is the most OP item in the game. Wait. Hold on. Yeah? Oh, I'm sorry. I just got news and reports saying that Gourd Drinker just got nerf buffed this patch. It is still broken and still does all the same stuff. And now it gives you Omnivamp. Cool. Yeah, it's kind of the go-to bruiser defensive item, kind of. Or it's like the bruiser defensive option because it does give you a lot of health. It does give you a lot of healing, especially champions that start in letter A and also end in letter Ox. Immortal Shield Bow. This item is the go-to defensive slash offensive item for ADCs because it does a lot of things. Not only does it give you 80 lifesteal attack speed, it gives you a big honking bussin' shield. If a shield that big slammed on top of me, man, I would enjoy it because I haven't said. But anyway, Immortal Shield Bow. Yeah, so it gives you a bunch of shield. Also gives you a bunch of extra AD and stuff when you're low. I think it's like 50% health. When you're like 50%, you get a shield and a bunch of AD. So yeah, it's a passive thing. Gives you big shield. Hooray. Eclipse is the third item. Not really. It's kind of like Mortal Shield Bow and Gourd Drinker. It's like a mixture of things. It's like it's kind of like the trick of the trade of the master. My brain. I need some quantum computing right now because I can't figure out what the fuck this phrase was. Holy moly! Give me Bill Gates. I need whoever the CEO of Google is. I need their server farm to freaking figure out what this phrase was. Holy moly! Jack. It's Jack. Jack. It's Jack. Jack of all trades. Oh my gosh, master of none. That is the whole thing. Holy moly, I actually have a degree. Yeah, so Eclipse is kind of Jack of all trades, master of none kind of deal. Although it is kind of really good. It's the all-around good lethality item for assassins who are ability based. Well, most of them are ability based. Who have abilities to use in succession with each other. Champions like Zed and Pantheon. What does Eclipse do? When you hit 3 attacks in succession, you get a shield, extra bit of damage on top of that. And the fourth one, Everfrost. This is the mage defensive item that isn't Zhonyas. It is the active thing that shoots ice at people and tells them to sit the fuck down because I don't want to be near you, stinky smelly butt. Not really a defensive item, kind of like Eclipse, but you know, in the same vein as Gourd Drinker, you have to press a button, but this is the one you have to aim successfully. Gives you a bunch of health, gives you a bunch of AP and mana, and also has an active where you shoot out an ice ray in a cone, but the center of it snares enemies, so it mobilizes them. It basically them to say, get away from me. Don't touch me there. Stranger danger. It's a go-to defensive item for like champions like Aurelion Sol, Zoe, Vigar. I see them a lot. It's also helpful to set up things for your combos and CCs, lock them down and stuff. Pretty useful item, but it is technically the defensive option. And last but not least, we have Zhonyas. It gives you AP and armor, and you don't die sometimes. About 50% of the time. I would say that Zhonyas works 50% of the time. Most people just use it randomly. Like, oh man, I'm being chased by like 5 people. Better use Zhonyas. What? Really want to use this when you're being dogpiled by the enemy team and you're trying to start a fight. You want to use it so you avoid a bunch of damage and your team kind of follows up to defend you. Or you use it to kind of avoid big ultimates and things like that to try not to die instantly from like a Zed or a Talon. It's pretty cool. But Alex, what are you trying to say about all of these items? What is it you're trying to get to? Well, let me tell you. I'm trying to talk about how these things hold up to Zhonyas. And what I really want to talk about is passive defense and offensive defense. What do I mean by that? A passive defense is something like a Mortal Shield Bow, where it just happens. Active defense, you have to hit a button. And I want to go out, say something a bit hot take, a bit controversial. I think that passive defense is just better than active defense. I just want to say it's just better. And why would I say that it's better? Well, because let's talk about League in a second. League is a game that a lot of stuff is going on at the same time. You got to think about your enemy laner. You got to think about what buttons you're hitting. You got to think about the farm you're trying to farm. You're trying to think about where the jungler is, what your jungler is doing, what your top laner is doing, what their top laner is doing. Why is the support Janna coming up and ganking me from my raptor pit? Why did she flash over the wall and try to knock me up with a tornado and then die under tower? What is happening? All these things and more happen in League game, especially as the game goes on, just devolves into madness. You have no idea what the heck is going on because there's 5 million ults happening in one spot of the map in a single pixel. You can't see a damn thing because there's a Malphite ult, a Braum ult, and there's a fucking, what the heck is that thing? I don't know. There's a lot going on, and while you're playing the game, you have like these mental stacks, right? We want to think about the brain and the order of things that we want to pay attention to, and kind of like a stack order. And it goes in some sort of order, like most important to least important, whatever way you want to think about it. And when we talk about active things, things that we have to do in the game, it adds stuff to the stack. Now, I want to say this, when you have more things to think about, you're going to make a lot more mistakes because you have a lot more stuff to think about, and it takes a lot longer to get to that point. I don't care how good at multitasking you say you are. Not everyone is 100% perfect at multitasking ever. I certainly not. My ADHD brain freaking decides that this is the most important thing a lot of the time. So something completely useless like, oh wow, I just noticed that the voice lines of Ashe have changed. And that was all I can think about for the entire game. But I did notice that the enemy jungler walked past the board. Like, that's just how, like, come on, and it ganks me from the fucking raptors. Why do all my enemy junglers gank from raptors? Do they know my weakness? Look, don't tell anyone. But if we have passive things happening, we don't have to think about them as much. We kind of just like, they're kind of in the back of our mind, but they're not actively in the stacking order of things that we have to think about and do. They're just there, and we kind of just let them happen. We don't think about them, and that means that there's less mistakes made thinking about things that don't really need to be important. I mean, sure, Mortal Shield Bow is important, and yeah, sure, you want to think about when the cooldown's up and when it's down. But if it really, you'll really have to think about it. You kind of just do the thing, and it happens. Bottom line is, passive means less mistakes. Active, you could possibly make more mistakes, and I think that's why passive defense is stronger than active defense. Hot take? Maybe. I don't know. Is this useless? Who cares? I'm gonna talk about it. Now this means I really do believe that Zhonyas is not as good as of an item that people say it is. It really isn't. Like, really, Zhonyas is an okay item. It kind of does the thing you want it to do. It definitely is really strong. And I think, yes, it does have a lot of good uses. It basically is the no-die button. There are plenty of other cases where having a shield passively pop up on you that shields you for a shit ton of health, or just like extra damage or healing or whatever, could probably save you even faster. I also think that being able to deal damage while being passively defended by your item makes it super strong. People build things like Immortal Shield Bow, Eclipse, and to an extent Gore Drinker, and they kind of just mash. It. I kind of just mash the Gore Drinker button to make sure they don't do a die, and it's just, it really bothers me that people are like, man, Zhonyas, League of Zhonyas. Sure, if your team follows up on your Zhonyas and tries to defend you and keep people off of you, or you use it exactly at the perfect time a lot of the times, yeah, sure, it's pretty useful. I'm not saying it's a bad item. I'm just saying it's not as good as people think it is. But yeah, that's what I have to say about Zhonyas. What do you think about Zhonyas? Freaking type an essay in the comments talking about how dumb I am. Or if you think it's okay and you think Zhonyas is actually kind of like an item, yeah, go ahead, type it down there. Also hit the like button. It really helps me out a lot and I appreciate the support. Also subscribe because look at this. Look at this. This right here. This. It's, none of you are subscribed. Look at it. This is so dumb. Get out of here. Anyway, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. We'll be back again this week sometime. I make videos every week, by the way. That's another thing. That's one reason you should subscribe. I make a video every week. And maybe more sometimes. But yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. Really do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one, where you'll see more of my tiny mic. Bye-bye.